fooled by the fact that he had a low yards per carry last year. I think that he is their number one priority going into the game. They got to figure out how to not let Travis Etienne wreck this game, whether as a running back or as a receiver. So I think priority number one is for them to slow down Travis Etienne, and number two is to prevent those explosives down the field with Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis.
That's interesting, Cam. I didn't think that'd be the case. I mean, the Dolphins' run defense last year, was that something that was a focal point at a bigger macro level that perhaps lends itself to the ETN? Perhaps he needs to be, priority number one?
Yeah, they were solid in run defense, nothing special, nothing terrible, but I will say a big loss they had in free agency was Christian Wilkins. He left to go to Las Vegas Raiders, got a massive $27.5 million deal. And they didn't have a lot that they did to replace him. Like Calais Campbell, who you guys know well down there in Jacksonville, came back there. But Calais Campbell just turned 38 this past week. So, I talked to Calais in the locker room, and he's like, hey, I want to play as much as I can, but I'd imagine they're going to have me closer to, 35, 40 rep area, maybe 45 reps. And so I'd anticipate him being more of a rotational defensive lineman rather than a full-time guy like Christian Wilkins did. They also lost their nose tackle, Raekwon Davis, in free agency. And so that's the area that got really depleted. And both of those guys I mentioned, Wilkins and Davis, were their best two run stuffers inside. So there's a little bit of unknown about how their run defense is going to be with those defensive tackles. And so if Jacksonville can establish their physicality with their O-line, that's definitely an area they're worried about and want to spend some extra attention on.
Yeah, let me hit that part home. Let's hit it even further home, Cam, because that was the other big X factor that I noticed just looking at the Dolphins with the loss of those two players in free agency. Who do you expect, if Calais truly is on a pitch count of sorts just by being a veteran, who do you expect to be lined up and be rotating in and out of that interior, especially because, as you just alluded to, while Benito probably is going to play, he's going to be limited in some form or fashion, right?
Yeah, he's coming off an injury. Again, I think that, I think it's very important, and it's weird to say because the NFL's long not done this, that the Dolphins are concerned about playing Buffalo on Thursday. And so, Mike McDaniel saying that I'm Mr. Load Management, I think really caught my eyes. He's referring a lot to practice, but I'd also anticipate him saying, I got to take care of my guys. I don't want to run them into the ground Sunday, and not saying they're going to treat this lightly. Every game's important. But I think for guys that are banged up, guys who are older, you may not see them play whatever their normal game snap count may be just because it's week one, because they have a game the next day in that respect. And so, yeah, I'd say Zach Sealer will be their main defensive tackle. He's going to be their DT1. He's probably going to play the most snaps of anybody in that group. And then I think you'll see a combination of Benito Jones. You'll see a combination of Calais Campbell out there. You'll see I would say you might even see like some of their defensive ends, like Emmanuel Oswald playing inside a little bit. And so I think they'll just have a variety of different guys playing maybe a different amount of snaps than they normally would just because of injuries, because of load management. And so, again, I think that along with what we discussed with the Dolphins' interior offensive line are the two areas where the Jaguars could potentially exploit this game in the trenches and try to take an advantage.
Cameron, let's zoom out for a second before we let you go, since you are also you're the national NFL reporter. A look at the AFC South, because we've had a lot of conversations here of what that could potentially look like for young quarterbacks when it comes to Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, and Trevor Lawrence, and a lot of additions added into this offseason to kind of build all of these rosters up in a little bit of different ways between each one. But what is kind of your outlook of what the AFC South could or should look like this year?
Hey, people look at me like I'm crazy, but I love the AFC South. I think that it's going to be one of the most interesting divisions of football. I think it's been a long time since we've been able to say that, but to me, it's the quarterbacks, the young quarterbacks generate a lot of interest in my book. Obviously Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville just got saved, and I got a lot of respect for him. And I love what Indy's doing with Anthony Richardson. I think he has a lot to prove. But if he hits his ceiling, I'd imagine he's one of the more tantalizing quarterbacks in this league because of his running ability. And you got Will Levis, obviously, who, maybe is the least known quarterback in this room, but I watched him in a couple games last year. He runs like he's a linebacker, and I think that always makes them interesting. And maybe the guy who's considered the class of the division right now, and C.J. Stroud, because of what his rookie year did. I think you go into this year with the Houston Texans as your favorite to win the division. C.J. Stroud is probably considered from more people the best quarterback in the division. But I like where the Jaguars are because last year they were the Texans. They were the team that everybody was hyping up to make a dark horse Super Bowl run and the darlings. And this year they're a little bit under the radar, maybe slept on, for people outside of the building. And I think that's a good thing for them to, maybe they were humbled a little bit by how December went last year and they can get back to the grind. And I'm curious how the Texans respond early in the season with all the hype they've had, with everybody throwing their best punches. I think this division race could be neck and neck with Jacksonville, with Indy, and with Houston. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, last year it came down to week 17, so certainly it could play out like that again. Cameron, who wins the game on Sunday, Jags or Dolphins?
I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wow.
I think that, I know. People in Miami, I've said that to a couple people, and they give me the same reaction. I think Miami on paper has the more talented team. I do think that Miami will get it together, but I am a little concerned about some of the things they dealt with early in the season, whether it's early in training camp, whether it be injuries, whether it be just kind of getting in the flow of things. And I think for the Dolphins, their big question mark is how do you perform well in January in the playoffs and winning a playoff game for the first time in 24 years? Well, you got to get there. And so I'm a little concerned about, do they start off slow with a lot of focus on some of the things I mentioned, load management, trying to prep for the latter parts of the season. Now, if Tyreek Hill goes off for 200, all bets are off, as he's known to do. And that could be an X factor. But I do think that the advantage that the Jags can have in the trenches could play a big factor on Sunday.
Cameron, we really appreciate your time. Enjoy the game.
Appreciate you, ladies.
See you down there in Miami. Cam Wolfe of the NFL Network. And, of course, yes, a national reporter as well. So I'm sure he'll be up here covering the Jags at some point during the season. Perhaps even, we didn't even ask, next weekend for the home opener, since you got the Buffalo Bills coming to Miami on Thursday.
We will get to the Fair and Fair injury update when we return. It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. We'll also make our picks. Spoiler alert, I did not do well last week. So not only did my college football team kick me when I was down, my picks let me down as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL. Sometimes it's a stunning performance.
3 touchdowns tonight.
Sometimes it's the guy who gets the job done.
He doesn't take a play off.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
He is a difference maker now.
On 1010XL.
Picture this. You know the little number counter things, the ones with the rolling numbers that just keep going up and up and up and up? That's what the selection is like at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, not 100, not 200, not even 3, 4, or 500. Over 600 vehicles, all in one location. Let's break it down. Over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 100 pickups, over 50 luxury vehicles. That, my friends, over 600 cars on the lot at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. And if you're looking for buying confidence, listen to this. At Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, you get 60 days to love it or exchange it. 60 days. Need a little credit help? Arlington has your back with the Credit for Everyone program to help get you financed. Don't wait. Shop Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. We're introducing the new banana pudding milkshake at Chick-fil-A. That's here to enjoy for a limited time only. The seasonal treat features Chick-fil-A ice cream dessert mixed with bananas and vanilla wafer cookie crumbles. It's a perfect sweet spin on a classic. The banana pudding milkshake is here for a limited time only, so stop by your local Chick-fil-A restaurant and treat yourself today.
Are you ready to upgrade your home?
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg, but Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There's a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesOfJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
We're back. Mia here, and winning season is back. Football is back, and MyBookie is here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions, like weekly risk-free boosts on Thursdays, where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big. If it doesn't, forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. That's just the beginning, folks. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contests. Get your entries in now for your shot at huge cash rewards. For a limited time, they are bringing back the double deposit bonus. When you're ready to get started, just use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Not to mention, loyalty pays off with MyBookie Plus. The more you play, the more you win. Climb through tiers of loyalty rewards programs to unlock even more epic promotions. Only with MyBookie.
Are you 18 years or older? Just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understanding that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp were outslugged in Game 2 of their series against Louisville 10-2 last night. Louisville got off to a fast start in the second inning, taking a 6-0 lead. We'll get back at it tonight for Game 3 tonight at 6:35. On a bye week, the FSU Seminoles have a lot to consider from their rough performances at the start of the season, with concerns about FSU quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. Head coach Mike Norvell addressed the media on whether he'll consider a quarterback change.
Obviously, we were struggling offensively, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, everything that we're doing, we got to push and get better, and that's what we're gonna focus on doing. We're gonna focus on pushing to get better, and we're gonna put our guys in the best position to go achieve success, and that's what we're gonna focus on.
It's 85 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So, the Jamar Chase saga. We haven't really talked a whole heck of a lot of it on this program, but with fantasy football in full swing, I know there's plenty of Jamar Chase owners out there in Healigan Nation that are in a panic, maybe some Bungles fans as well. So as we begin the 1 o'clock hour, the very latest from Cincinnati, because boy, oh boy, is this messy. Jamar Chase told the media today that he believes today is the deadline in his mind to get a contract extension done. He does believe that both the Bengals and his representation are in reach of a deal. He then called himself a game-time decision because he will be limited on Sunday if he does play. He would be willing to play this season without a new deal if it gets to that point. One of our friends of the program, Marshall Kramsky of WCPO, then asked Jamar on the report if he wants to make one more penny than Justin Jefferson, and that's what the holdup is, to which he said, quote, "If I want to beat Justin Jefferson, I'm going to beat the bleep out of Justin, not by a penny, brother."
They're going to pay him.
I know.
Now, especially
you got to pay him.
has an injury.
Yeah, you got to pay him. Tyler Boyd's gone. That's like
T. Higgins tweaked a hamstring.
Yeah, you've got to pay Jamar, but that is like, pay me today or have fun.
Or else I'm just going to like limit myself. Like, you're going to tell me like, all right, this play I'll go play.
My
but
back might start
I'm not going out there on this one. No,
It
sorry.
sounds like somebody else, as a matter of fact. Although he never used the back as leverage to get more money. He used the back injury. Jalen, we're talking about Ramsey. He used the back injury to get out of
here. Yeah.
Once upon a time. All right, time now. Speaking of injuries, for the Fair and Fair injury report.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah,
Jacksonville,
exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So as we mentioned in the 12 o'clock hour, Daniel Thomas, the only player on the Jaguars injury report this entire week. He was limited both Wednesday and Thursday during the open media viewing portion of practice yesterday. He was out there on the field, officially listed as limited. Doug Peterson this morning saying he is hopeful that DT will be able to play Sunday in Miami. As for the Dolphins, thank you to Cam Wolf of the NFL Network for once again joining us and giving us some updates live from Dolphins practice as far as some of these injuries go. Jalen Ramsey did not practice the last 2 days with a hamstring injury, but following the news of his new contract extension, he was on the practice field this afternoon. Mike McDaniel, though, would not comment on if Ramsey is definitively playing Sunday against the Jags or not. You also heard Cam reference Aaron Brewer, the starting center, had hand surgery in the past month. He is expected to play, at least per Cam, officially listed as limited each of the last 2 days. Ditto to defensive tackle Benito Jones with a knee injury. Malik Washington, the wide receiver out of Virginia, limited with a quad injury each of the past 2 days. Jordan Poyer and Anthony Walker also both battling injuries in the defensive backfield for the Miami Dolphins. They were both full participants on Thursday. We will keep you posted as the hour goes on if we have any more updates on the status of those Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I would expect Jalen will be listed when the report comes out later today, listed as questionable, and then certainly we'll see on Sunday.
It was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's grandpa. Like when Jalen found out he got paid today, he hopped out.
Well, no, some of the memes right now are absolutely hilarious. Of like this boy and he's got like a cast on and he can't really run, and then all of a sudden he just starts running and the cast falls off. Like, yeah, that's where we're at with Jalen.
We talked about certainly the Miami secondary going up with, of course, the potential absence of Jalen Ramsey going up against the Jags offense. I feel like we haven't spent enough time talking about how important and critical the Jaguars secondary is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about pass rush, but as far as a Tyson Campbell, a Ronald Darby going up against the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddles, that's some tough sledding week one. And everyone's, I would say, in really good shape and certainly healthy as far as the Jags are concerned. But at the same time, no one's played a full game. The preseason, your snaps are limited. And so in the heat and everything, I think that's going to be something
Or
to
against
watch.
starters.
Or against starters, yeah. Certainly for the Jags, they didn't play a lot of starters. All right, time now for our weekly picks contest. We will get things started. And these are the lines from my bookie as of this morning. We will get things started with the biggest game in college football tomorrow. Texas at Michigan. Mia, who you got?
Oh, I've got Texas. -7 in this one.
-7.
No question for me. Inside sources tell me they're shocked the line isn't bigger following the Wolverines' performance last week against Fresno State. Give me the Longhorns, even though I was skeptical of them all last season. I just think Michigan, unfortunately, is still trying to find its footing, especially on offense.
Yeah, same for me. I have Texas too, and I'm not even the biggest Quinn Ewers fan, and I still think I think it's going to be more than 7. So, give me Texas.
I'm with both of you. Look, at the end of the day, Michigan lost so much, and I think there's a lot of still turmoil going on there because of the allegations against Harbaugh and things like that. So I've got Texas -7 as well. Then we head to Lincoln, Nebraska, where Nebraska plays host to Colorado. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are 7.5-point underdogs to the Cornhuskers. Taylor, who you got?
I've got Nebraska. I just think that I know you've got Shedeur and you've got Travis Hunter, and that's what you've got. And I also think that they just weren't able to. They've relied too much on the pass. And I said it last week. I don't think that's going to survive all year. You not being able to run the ball, especially in critical moments down the stretch. So give me Nebraska.
We had Matt Hayes in here yesterday singing the praises of Matt Rule and the Huskers.
Wednesday, but yeah.
Wednesday, yeah. They all blow
Whatever
together.
day this
I
is.
don't know what day it is, Lauren. I can't believe I'm going to do it.
You're going Buffaloes?
I'm going Buffs. Only because Dylan Raiola is a freshman. It's a 7.5-point spread. That hook, it just appetizes me. Yeah. Give me the Buffs. I'm going to do it once because
This is your chance.
Much like Lauren's ability to wear Florida colors because she knows Florida's probably going to win that weekend, this may be the only time I can pick the Buffs this year.
Yeah, if Florida doesn't beat Stanford, I don't know if Florida wins again this season, but that's why that game's not on the books. I think Florida does win that one. But yeah, I'm going to take Nebraska. I've told y'all before, my grandmother, my dad's mom was a diehard Nebraska fan, lived in Omaha, Nebraska. So she'd be mad at me if I didn't take the Huskers. And look, Dylan Raiola once committed to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then
he's a good player.
Changed to Nebraska. Raiola, I think people are going to learn why Kirby Smart wanted him in Athens once upon a time. All right, let's switch it to the National Football League. I'll go first with the Eagles. They are 4-point favorites against the Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil tonight. I am going to take the Green Bay Packers. I like the way that their season ended. I don't like the way the Eagles' season ended. Mia.
I don't want to be that guy, Lauren, but since you sent us the lines this morning, there has been some movement on mybookie.ag. The Eagles are now 2-point favorites.
Really? Because originally it was, I think, more like 3.5. Then it changed to 4. Now it's back down.
Oh, it's at 2 right now. I'm looking at it on my laptop right now. So
I wonder what they're hearing. They're hearing something.
So you're taking Packers +2.
Packers +2.
I am taking the Eagles -2.
Taylor?
Yeah, I'm going the Eagles. I just think that number
Do we
one.
really think Taylor was going to pick the Packers?
There's going to be games that I will. I just think that for this one, Green Bay had allowed the most rushing in the top most rushing yards last season, the top most first down rushing yards last season. Everything when it came to the run game, and I think that with the Eagles getting Saquon and also Jalen, I think they're going to be able to use that a lot. I also think it was a little bit of a fluke how much the Eagles defense decreased last year. I don't think we're going to see a 2 seasons ago defense, but I also think a part of it, is that Jordan Love, they now have a full season film on Jordan Love and those receivers that kind of month to month did something different. I don't think they have a true number 1 wide receiver. They're going to have to try and figure that out, and maybe it takes a few weeks for it to happen, but go Eagles.
Vic Fangio is
choked up talking about that.
Vic Fangio, an underrated hire for the Eagles. I understand the expectation is they'll be trotting out some, say older players. I'm not going to say washed, but some older players. Not going to do that to the Pride of Brunswick and Darius Slay, but some older guys coupled with those young rookies in Terrion Arnold and Cooper DeJean. But I just can't come away with the thought of if Nick Sirianni loses this game, he may not have a job in a month from now.
And then we get to Indianapolis, where the Colts play host to the Texans. The Texans are favored by 3. Mia, who you got?
Yeah, give me the Texans.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one for me. Yep,
yeah.
All 3 of us. And again, I'm honestly surprised that the Texans aren't favored by more than 3 points with the way
because people are so hype on AR. Like that's and they're hype on Shane Steichen. I haven't gone game by game for the Colts as closely as I have the Texans. Part of why, when we get to our NFL season predictions here later in the 1 o'clock hour, I have questions about the Texans, is they were a Tyler Boyd drop away from losing to the Bengals. They were a Carlton Davis burnt toast game away from losing to the Bucs. And if they lose both those 2 games, we're having a very different conversation, not only about Houston, but about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not so sure that's the case with the Colts, but judging by the team that I saw the Jaguars beat up on twice last year, I don't know. I just can't come away with it saying, well, certainly AR, if healthy, can elevate the play of that entire outfit. is it that much different than it was last year from a team that the Jaguars dominated both times out?
He couldn't stay healthy even in the first game last year.
Yeah.
He got knocked out literally
If Trevor
against the
Lawrence is
Jaguars.
coming up to you and saying, dude, you got to take care of yourself, like, you have a problem.
Yeah. So, all three of us have the Texans, and then we get it to Taylor's team, the Bears. They are 3.5-point favorites at home over the Tennessee Titans. I've got the Bears. Taylor, I'm going to guess you do as well.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm literally might throw up this weekend before this game. But, I mean, when you look at it on paper, the Bears should win. The big thing that I keep seeing float around, not one single quarterback drafted first overall has won their first game in the NFL since 2002. 22 years.
That's a saucy nug, RJ.
22 years. So that just shows no matter what, and this is including like an Andrew Luck who come like this is including some quarterbacks that have been good. They just come when it's new. There's a lot of new pieces. You're a new quarterback. Luckily, it's at home, and I think that's what sways me that way even more. Soldier Field is going to be booming. People are pumped up there. So it's hard for me not to go. I will be depressed on Monday if it's not.
Will Levis just isn't good.
I'm just going to try to make up some ground because I'm trying to plan in advance for my Buffs pick. So I got to go the opposite way and go out on a limb here. I do think the Bears win the game because it is a home game, Taylor. But I'm going to go Titans plus 3.5 here. But I do have some reservations as we talk about Jamar Chase, about the report from Paul Kaharski out of Nashville yesterday that DeAndre Hopkins revealed to him that he actually tore his MCL.
Yeah, he's playing with a torn MCL.
And he plans on playing. And he's like, are you going to have surgery? Like, that's like a pretty long recovery. And D-Hop is like, yeah, I'm going to play. So at 32, 33 years old, it's bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
It certainly is. So you've got the Titans, and then finally the Jaguars at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites in Miami. I will easily tell you I've got the Jags.
Yeah,
the Jags went outright.
Yeah, I'm going Jags actually. Also, I picked when we did our picks back in May. I picked the Dolphins to win this game, but I think number one for me, mainly all the injuries. I just think the Dolphins are too beat up right now. If this was later in the season, I think I may skew the other way. I just think that all of the newness on both sides of the ball, too, for the Jaguars is going to be hard for the Dolphins to game plan this quick, especially missing fundamental pieces.
Once again, this is reverse jinx, reverse psychology. I did predict on the Duval Rundown program on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, Dolphins 30, Jaguars 26, solely because of what Mike McDaniel has done in the opener each of the past 2 years. That's the only reason I'm going to go Dolphins minus 3.5.
All right, so we all have Texas. Mia has Colorado. Taylor and I have Nebraska. Mia and Taylor both have the Eagles. I have the Packers. All three of us have the Texans. Mia has the Titans, while Taylor and I have the Bears. And then Mia has the Dolphins, while Taylor and I have the Jaguars. Last week, I had a measly 1 point. Mia had 2 points. Taylor had 3 points, again, picking against the spread. Taylor has a tangent when we return. We also have our NFL playoff predictions for the 2024 season. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
This crowd is electric.
The difference between stepping up and stepping aside can be as simple as being stepped on.
And he is slow to get up.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL.
Jacksonville.
Mia here. The sun is finally poking out once again, and it's going to get hot outside again. Which means your AC better be blowing nice and cold on the inside, folks. If for any reason it's not, that's where my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are here to help. Their qualified service techs can handle any type of cooling issue at your home or business. So don't deal with the summer heat outside and inside. Give Duck Duck AC a call today to schedule service. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck AC is a licensed mechanical contractor.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our two blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
Well, all the news forecasts say that home prices are expected to decline in 2025. Hey, that's great if you're buying a home. But if you're selling one, you might want to get to it. And when it comes to selling your home,
The agents you should trust are Chad and Sandy Newman at chadandsandy.com. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how, and you don't want to worry about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Those things are all out with Chad and Sandy. They're the local real estate experts you can trust, and I recommend for the sale of your home, or for the sale of mine for that matter. Maybe I should look into it. Hey, don't trust me. Trust Jacqueline from Biscayne Estates. My inherited home became a nightmare when it went unsold for 177 days and ended up with a large lien. With expenses mounting for my handicapped daughter and no way to pay, I was desperate. At this point, I turned to Chad and Sandy. The change was amazing. Chad and Sandy sold my home in 3 days at a higher than asking price. Find out for yourself at chadandsandy.com or 904-414-6200.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Getting you ready for the game. Pre-Game Friday, brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
This summer, beat the heat at Best Bet, your premier poker destination. Whether you're a seasoned poker pro or a first-time card player, you'll find a cool retreat from the summer heat with thrilling poker games, big payouts, and refreshing drinks. Join us for an unforgettable experience. Cool off and cash in at Best Bet. The stakes are high, the cards are hot, and your chance for fun is guaranteed. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. I know that hearing another ad for Jacksonville's best promo company interrupts Jacksonville's best sports talk, but at least it isn't a political ad. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, an equal opportunity employer.
If your favorite colors are orange and green, stay close to South Beach this season.
Your source for weekly Canes news and nuggets on 1010XL is the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve on 1010XL.
To get people excited about Boost Mobile's new nationwide 5G network, we're offering unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month.
Forever.
Even if you have a baby.
Even if your baby has a baby.
Even if you grow old and wrinkly and you start repeating yourself.
Even if you start repeating yourself.
Even if you're on your deathbed and you need to make one last call.
Or text.
Right, or text. The long-lost son you abandoned at birth.
You'll still get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile.
Forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Forever.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 through October 26th at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and also at Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and Brooks Rehab at World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Jags fans, our holiday pack is back with a special edition.
Trevor Lawrence touchdown!
For the first time, get a limited edition Trevor Lawrence bobblehead plus a ticket to one of our December home games starting at $78. Wow! Whether you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift or want the one-of-a-kind bobblehead for yourself, grab a holiday pack today by going to jaguars.com/bobblehead or call 904-633-2000 now.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Wow! I feel good.
It's a feel-good Friday.
We're gonna have a good time together.
And that would be good.
So good.
Text or tweet something that makes you feel good today.
I hear good things. Really good things. Cheers to the freaking weekend. Drink to that, yeah. Oh, let the Gemma sun sink.
We would all say that our Feel Good Friday this week is football. The Jaguars take on the Dolphins at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And for all the Knowles and for all the Gators whose college football seasons have already let them down, the Jaguars, we are counting on you to take care of business down in Miami. All right, right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent. Taylor, take it away.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
All right, a couple things from the game last night that I do want to point out that I think will be interesting to kind of follow along with throughout the rest of the season. We talked a little bit about the penalties, and there were what felt like a lot leaning on the Ravens, or a lot more called on the Ravens than it was the Chiefs. But there were a couple. Patrick Mahomes got hit twice out of bounds. Those didn't get called either. So it was more so, to me, rather than like picking on the Ravens, more so just very inconsistent, which I think we do see that early on in a lot of seasons because they're told to focus on certain things. This illegal formation was something that they were told to keep an eye on. But it is interesting because between the illegal formations that were just super inconsistent throughout the entire game, there were multiple false starts, obviously not called. We saw Juwan jump a couple times. That's just kind of been a thing now. But then when you're not calling them for certain people or let's just say in certain moments and not other moments, it's not even team by team, it's just moment by moment. Then we talked about the defensive coordinator not being able to call a timeout. You didn't get a penalty for that. Mahomes getting hit out of bounds, neither of those were called. So I think that there were a lot to help the Ravens, but I do think that there were some missed on the Chiefs too. And at some point it just starts getting frustrating when it's no consistency. And I think that's what fans want. I feel like if refs called the game, it doesn't even have to be completely even, but consistent when it comes to the calls, fans wouldn't maybe complain as much. And in the same realm of expectations for the season and what to expect, the new kickoff, honestly, was a little
downer.
Yeah, because
downer.
We talked about the preseason, and I did my tangent a few weeks ago, how the preseason, the return rate was already way higher than it had been the previous year. The return yardage was already higher. But
that's the problem. They figured it out.
And so last year's return rate was 22%, and last night, only 2 of 11 kickoffs were returned. And so that is going to be something to also keep an eye on. Are they just going to say whatever, put it on the 30 to not risk these guys getting to the 40-50? We will see, as this is just something to keep an eye out through the year because all these teams are figuring it out.
John Harbaugh has been very vocal. Like, he was joking about it in the preseason, but perhaps that's actually how he feels, that he was always just going to kick it into the end zone.
Yeah, just put it at the 30. We can stop you from there rather than maybe giving more yards. But I'm wondering if certain teams, that 30, I mean, you feel like that's a pretty decent distance when you're already getting the ball on the 30. And so if teams, let's say certain games start happening and they just keep getting touchbacks, and every time that team gets it on the 30, they're immediately getting into the red zone in 2-3 plays, people might start adjusting. But it's just something to keep an eye on, that it's been such a big talking point, and I felt like it was anticlimactic last night.
I actually have an interesting tweet for you. I don't know if this will be something you will enjoy or not, Taylor, but
oh gosh,
the Kelsey brothers.
Oh yes,
that's where I don't know if you'll enjoy it or not. Jason Kelsey sounded off because Mitchell Schwartz, the former tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, was giving Kelsey flack about why do the centers always look back? Like, that's the reason they're getting the illegal procedure call. Jason Kelsey goes, I'm quote tweeting this so more people can see it. And of course he has a blue check mark, so he goes into like a 6-paragraph rant. So I'll surmise it a little bit for you. The tackle jumping the count thing is never going to stop. I get that a lot of these are false starts in slow motion. In real time, it all happens so fast. People don't understand how hard it is for the official to really know if he left before the ball was live from the sidelines. There is at least one false start that legitimately could have been called in the game on Juwan, and Collinsworth called that one out. Usually, if it's close on jumping the snap for offense or defense, the officials tend to let it go. certainly get the frustration people have that Ronnie got called for a lot of frivolous stuff early and the Chiefs didn't. It's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of the point of emphasis that these refs are having to start the season. It leads to officials looking to make calls, and a lot of borderline or bad calls end up being made as a result. I think that Ronnie Stanley's body posture being so upright made it look worse than it actually was, especially the third one. In real time on TV, I thought he was off again. On the further review, he's much closer to the line in an area that doesn't usually call it. In the last one, his feet are even with the guard, so he's upright. His helmet looks so much further back than the rest of the line. And so that is something we've seen with Jawan Taylor.
Yeah.
Part of it was he is upright, much like Ronnie Stanley in this case. And that's where it is so obvious because he already has that, like, what is that, like a foot between being crouched and being upright?
Yeah.
That clearly one of these things is not like the other. And so it's a red flag to the refs.
And I think an interesting part, too, that frustrates people is this has been a thing now. So it's like if everybody else is talking about it, the refs have to know that Jawan's had an issue. So it's like you would think they would look a little bit more and watch Jawan Taylor, but they're not because they want the Chiefs. They want the Chiefs.
It's ironic that last year, the first game of the season, all the flags were on Jawan Taylor. And last night it was the reverse and all the flags were on
Ronnie was like,
Stanley.
hold on.
Ronnie's like, what the heck, man?
I know. Who do I need to pay at halftime? All right, we've got lunch for 4 today from Chick-fil-A.
We do. Lunch on the ladies. Lunch for 4 to Chick-fil-A on us. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4.
I like it. Caller number 4. And on the other side, we will give you our NFL playoff predictions. We will also say hello to XL Primetime. They are live at Mocama. 1 segment to go on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
We're back. Mia here, and winning season is back. Football is back, and MyBookie is here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. This season, MyBookie is pulling out all the stops with incredible promotions, like weekly risk-free boosts on Thursdays, where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, you win big. If it doesn't, forget it. MyBookie will refund your wager. That's just the beginning, folks. MyBookie is giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes with their Super Survivor and Squares contests. Get your entries in now for your shot at huge cash rewards. For a limited time, they are bringing back the double deposit bonus. When you're ready to get started, just use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Not to mention, loyalty pays off with MyBookie Plus. The more you play, the more you win. Climb through tiers of loyalty rewards programs to unlock even more epic promotions. Only with MyBookie.
Hey, Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for a remix on the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich? The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is a flavorful spin on a familiar favorite, created with a Chick-fil-A filet, a drizzle of honey, pickled jalapenos, and a spread of savory pimento cheese. The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich combines your favorite flavors with a twist. And this year it's back with a bite with a spicy filet option available for a limited time only. So stop by and enjoy one today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you could take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. Let me backtrack. Let me say that again, folks, because this is unheard of up and down the eastern seaboard. 2.99% year one rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about putting your worries in the right bucket. So often we put our worries in our own bucket, but many times they need to be in God's bucket. The Bible says, present your problems always to God. In other words, leave them in God's bucket. Understand that no matter what is out of your control, it's never out of the control of Almighty God.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
I'm with Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville, and even though you're the place to go for fun, you're also a place to go for generators. People need generators.
And the Honda lineup is amazing. They make the super quiet model, inverter technology, the electricity super clean. You can have conversations with them. You can back up your whole house with a Honda generator. So we have them in stock, and we're ready to ride.
So you have generators big enough that could run everything in the house?
Absolutely.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency for generators.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Every Friday night in every town in America, communities come together for a time-honored tradition.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked this morning how he feels about the Jaguars being under the radar this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Just go about our business, right? And just keep working hard and playing hard and don't worry about the outside. Just make it about us and focus internally. And people are going to write what they want to write, and if you start winning games, then maybe you get some recognition. So it's 1 week at a time. It's one game at a time, obviously, and I'm fine with that.
Jaguars Dolphins kick off the season Sunday at 1 o'clock right here on 1010XL. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since '87.
In case you missed our interview with Cam Wolfe of the NFL Network, head on back. We'll have it on demand, available on SoundCloud as well as the 1010XL Jaguars channel, I am sure, in the coming hour or so. Make sure you do go back and listen, because the point that we've been hammering home is the same reason he's taking the Jags to win this game on Sunday, which is an inexperienced offensive line, especially on the interior for the Miami Dolphins. Can that interior three do what its predecessor, I guess you could say, the previous iteration of that Dolphins offensive line has been able to do for the better part of the last 2 years under Mike McDaniel, which is allow for Tua Tagovailoa to get the ball out quick while also keeping him largely upright. The fact that we made it an entire season last year without Tua suffering a major injury shocked me. I'm sure it shocked sports books and bettors across the country because
all that MMA he did.
Yeah, the Muay Thai.
Yeah.
The Muay Thai was everything. And so, look, I'm not wishing any ill upon Tua, but I do think that this Jaguars defensive line should be licking its chops at the opportunity in front of them. And the same should be said for the Jaguars offensive line, who has spent the better part of the last 8 months being told they weren't physical, they weren't tough enough. You have a golden opportunity to prove that with the Dolphins team playing its first game without Christian Wilkins and, as Cam noted, Raekwon Davis on the inside.
Yeah, I think that when we look at this game, and like I said, just from May to now, my outcome of what I thought would happen has changed. Granted, other factors, like I said, injuries play into that when it comes to the Miami side of the ball and how healthy the Jags are. But I do think that also shows a little bit of what I feel like the offensive weapons can be. And Brian Thomas Jr. quickly into the season of that matchup between that secondary and all of the weapons that you now have to cover with the Jags, especially if they can run the ball. If they figure out a way to make this work in a way that if Mitch Morse is that missing little puzzle piece to make the offense kind of function and just run more cohesively and more consistently, then I think that it will catch on fast. And so that's kind of my hope. If that happens, this will be fun right out of the gates. If that doesn't happen and it takes some time, we're going to see another stagnant start from the offense in general, and hope this Ryan Nielsen defense comes in big and lets them have those few weeks. But I can't expect, if Mitch is what a lot of people say Mitch is, then this should be right out of the gates, this functioning offense that we've been wanting to see.
Yeah, it was interesting to me that Cam Wolf told us, again, at NFL Network, that the Miami defense's number one focal point is Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought it might have been Evan Ingram or even Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Certainly not Brian Thomas Jr. yet because he's a rookie, but he does have a ton of speed. Gabe Davis has that down the field capability as far as catching the ball. But Travis Etienne is the guy that they are laser focused on. So can the Jaguars run the ball? I do think that it would be certainly in the Jags' best interest to have a lead early so that they can continue to play the game that they want to play. And we'll see who's calling the plays, I suppose, by watching the game. Mia, you'll be headed down there. Hydrate. I know Hard Rock Stadium is going to be very warm on Sunday, so certainly you'll be prepared for that. Though, all right, let's get it to our NFL playoff predictions for the 2024 season. AFC East, I've got the Bills.
Let's cue up some music, RJ. Get that NFL music pumping once again. Again, we didn't get a chance to make these picks since we are off on Thursdays, but excited to bring them to you now. I, too, have the Bills. I believe the rumors of their demise have been grossly exaggerated. This, granted, is the first year in which, in the same vein as Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen must prove he can elevate the play of his entire roster.
Yeah, I think we saw Josh Allen's turnovers in general go down last year, especially in the second half, and that is something I believe will carry on. It was a focal point. I've been high all season on Khalil Shakir. I've drafted him in almost every fantasy league I have because of it. I have Bills, too.
All right, all three of us have the Bills. And yes, Josh Allen, we know Stephon Diggs is not there. Gabe Davis is not there. That's not their only weapons, though, to your point, Taylor. And
also Keon Coleman. They've been all preseason. They've been, off season. They've been talking about how good he's looked already.
It was funny because there were a couple tweets out there. I know Brett Coleman in particular, who noted, that one pass in the end zone that Xavier Worthy dropped, Keon Coleman catches that.
Yeah,
Make you feel a little bit better, Bills fans.
But other people were like, yeah, they should have drafted Xavier Worthy, not Keon Coleman. I mean, they love him, and so certainly it'll be fun to see what he does. And their defense has been traditionally pretty good, other than maybe the Jags in London in the first half of that game. All right, let's get it to the AFC South. I've got your Jacksonville Jaguars for so many reasons, and that is mainly because I think the Texans have a little bit of a collapse because of the fact they now face the toughest schedule, and everyone's been telling them all offseason how good they are.
Yep. I went back and forth. I initially had both the Jags and the Texans, much like our friend Pete Prisco, at 10-7, with the Texans having the tiebreaker and winning the South, the Jaguars still making the playoffs. And then I thought about it, and I said, well, I'm taking the Jags to beat the Texans in Houston 4 weeks from now. And I don't see the Jags losing coming out of the bye to Houston at home after how that home game went last year. And I was like, how could they have the tiebreaker? So I have to pick the Jags then to win the division.
Yeah, I'm going Texans. I do think it's going to come down to the very end. I just think C.J. Stroud's going to just get better. I think that Stephon Diggs is going to help the offense. I think Danielle Hunter is going to help the defense. I think with Will Anderson and him coming off the edges, it's going to be really hard for a lot of teams to battle that. And so I do think it will come down to the end between the Texans and the Jags, but I think they're both in the postseason, but I do think Texans take the AFC South.
By the way, homage to our good friend Nick De La Torre down in Gainesville. The most under-the-radar, biggest free agent signing by the Houston Texans this offseason. former Florida Gator Tommy Townsend at the punter position.
AFC North, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. I do think they'll get a deal done with Jamar Chase. And to me, Burrow is the second best quarterback in all of the NFL.
Yeah, I largely picked the Bengals because of the chip on the shoulder of both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase with all of the contract disputes. I also picked the Bengals because there's always one team that goes from worst to first. And quite frankly, this was the easiest one to pick.
For sure.
Yeah, I have the Bengals too. I've picked the Bengals for 4 years straight. I think 3 of them in the Super Bowl. And so I'm ready for that season to really see. To your point, Lauren, I also think Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL. And I just think that he's battled through a lot. They finally feel like they've gotten this offensive line to a point where they can actually protect Joe Burrow. I think that's going to continue. I think they have some good pieces on the defense too to help him out. And like you said, I think Jamar Chase will have a contract very soon, and that will help him too.
Here's my shocking point as far as the AFC goes. For my wild cards, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, you forgot the West, or are we just dismissing that as Chiefs?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
just
you're
the
right.
Chiefs.
Okay. All three of us have the
We're
Chiefs.
throwing
Let's
that
move
one
along.
away.
My shocking...
Does anybody have not the Chiefs?
Correct. No, of course not. My shocking decision is that the Texans don't make the postseason.
Ooh, okay.
I've got the Baltimore Ravens, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Miami Dolphins, who the Jaguars face on Sunday.
I have the Texans getting into the postseason because as much as I have tried to poke holes in that team over the last 8 months, they are a good outfit. And I've said since he was hired, I picked the Texans to win 7 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, if that Bengal and Bucks game had gone the other way, that's exactly where they would have been. I think that D'Amico's a good coach. Not so sure about the GM, but that's okay. So, yeah, Texans, Ravens, Dolphins for me in the wild card.
Yeah, I have Dolphins, Ravens, Jags.
All right, and then we get it to the NFC. You're right, I totally skipped over the AFC West because I didn't think it was a conversation.
Forgive me.
NFC East, I'm going with a team that I think is really good in the regular season, not so good in the postseason, the Dallas Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys missing the playoffs.
Oh.
I'm not going to bury the lead. I have the Cowboys missing the playoffs. I think with Mike McCarthy in this weird lame duck sort of final year of his contract, Dak Prescott's contract hanging in the balance, even with CeeDee Lamb getting a payday, Micah Parsons is still begging for one. For me, the Eagles will be there when all is said and done solely because they have been there before.
Yeah, I have the Cowboys too. I think that Dak is coming off of one of his best career years, and that's going to just continue. CD gets paid. That's fun. I think that we'll see Zeke back, and Zeke's the guy again. Tony Pollard gone out of that room. I think that we'll see more of that, and I just think their defense with Micah Parsons is just unstoppable. So I feel like, again, between them and Eagles, it will come down to some final games, but the Cowboys take it.
I do think the Mike Zimmer pairing is going to be fascinating because
Mhm.
Dan Quinn is such a player's coach. Mike Zimmer is a totalitarian. I'm curious how that young defense responds. By the way, I didn't do it. My saucy, off-the-wall prediction, and it's weird because our friend John Shipley has told me he thinks they're going to pick first overall. I think Washington's going to be better than people think.
They've been my sleeper.
I know. I hate that I have this weird confidence in them because I had that confidence in Carolina last year, and look how that turned out.
Well, and I've been saying it from the start. I think they'll be sneaky, mainly because of Jaden. Them getting rid of Jahan Dotson has made me back up a little bit from it because I think that was their main weapon, and now you maybe thought Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk obviously isn't going there. So they do have some things to figure out, but I think that Jaden can carry that team to a decent amount of 6-7 wins, I think.
All right, so we don't run out of time. NFC South, I've got the Falcons.
I got the Bucks.
I have the Bucks.
Okay.
I can't wait for the Falcons
Bucks
to
won it
implode.
last year. Falcons, to me, whether it's Kirk Cousins, I even think Michael Penix Jr. could help that team win that division if that's what's asked of him. NFC North, I've got the Packers.
Boo, I've got the Lions.
I have the Packers as well.
All right. The NFC West, all three of us, I assume, have 49ers.
Yes.
That one's an easy one. All right, so my 3 wild cards, going back to the Commanders conversation, I've got the Commanders in the
you do?
postseason,
Okay, Lauren.
along with the Lions and the Eagles because I'm super high on the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and everything that he did at LSU.
Love that. You actually did it. Well,
I did it.
I actually did this. I put Taylor's Bears in the postseason. I have the Bears, the Lions, and the Rams.
All right.
Yeah, I have the Bears, Packers, Eagles. So in mine, I have 3 Lions, Packers, and Bears all going to the playoffs. But I think that, for me, I would be very disappointed if the Bears didn't scrape their way in just with the other teams that are in the NFC. Also, their schedule, they have one of the easier schedules in the league. As it looks like, you never know. As I said, I hate the schedule, strength of schedule thing. But they're
the same reason the Bengals are going to win the
for
North.
success. So it would have to fail absolutely miserably for Caleb for them not to get into the playoffs.
And then I've got in the Super Bowl the Chiefs and the Packers. Sorry, Taylor. And I've got the Chiefs winning.
I took it a step further. I've got the Chiefs over the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game. That was my spicy trail to the final.
That would be so sad.
Initially, I had the Jags making it as a wild card, remember? And then them making the AFC title game despite Houston getting bounced in the first round. Instead, it ended up just when I thought about what I believe in those matchups, what'll happen. Jags will win the division. Chiefs over the Jags, as history told us it would be a year ago. God's delays are not his denials, folks. 49ers over the Lions once again. I'm sorry to our friends up there in Motown. Dan Campbell, sad. Chiefs over the Niners, a repeat of this past Super Bowl. People complain to me online about it, but guess what? The two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year have been in the Super Bowl multiple times in the last 4 years. So it's probably the safest bet you can make.
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it until it happens.
Right.
Well, outside of my teams, because obviously if I could pick my teams, I would. I just don't think either of them will be there. So I'm going, it's Niners versus Bengals. Niners over Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Saucy.
I like that it's a change. We can do some fun superlatives next week after the first week. But right now, let's go up to Fernandina Beach and say hello to XL Primetime Live at Mocama Beer Company.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
Joe, have you had one of their coffees, not beers yet?
Well, we are actually sampling the Mocama coffee now,
Ooh.
and they have opened up a brand new restaurant inside Mocama Beer Company.
Big
'Cause
development.
When we've been up here before, we've been treated to the food trucks, which we know they are great. But Ernest and Company, they said, you know what? Let's go in-house. Let's create our own kitchen. And so they got flatbreads. They've got the charcuterie. They've got goat cheese mixed with their beer. They got the goat cheese and fig spread. They just got all kinds of stuff. And they are getting fired up for our show today. And then, of course, watching Jaguar ball on Sunday with a cold craft.
So at 4 o'clock, that's when you can have one of those cold crafts.
Oh, you better believe it.
Joe, who do you have in the Super Bowl?
I went Ravens and Lions, and half the time last night watching that game, I'm like, why the H did I pick the Ravens? But they did enough, and they almost won that football game. We all saw the play and what happened with Isaiah Likely, but they were down. They just kept pulling themselves back in. Lamar obviously looks like he's taking it to a new level, minus the LBs that he's carrying. He's much lighter. But anyway, it was such a fun game to watch, and the thing that just drives me crazy is what drives every other NFL team out there. Pat Mahomes. This guy just makes play after play after play. It doesn't matter who's out there. It's just incredible to watch.
What type of Lamar, though, do you think we see throughout the course of this season, Joe? Because obviously he was more of a willing runner last night. He drops the weight. My concern, much in the same vein as Anthony Richardson, is can he stay healthy operating like that?
Well, it's so funny because we're talking, I believe, we're in the maybe 15 to 25-pound neighborhood that he dropped. And yet he still looks like he's taking hits properly. He initiated contact a couple of times, taking some of those hits, and then other times he was smarter and got out of bounds or whatever, or got down. But I do think this dude is going to have another set of big plays based on his body type and what he's done. And apparently he and Todd Monken, they've worked tirelessly over the offseason as he's trying to take more ownership of this offense. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what it looks like. I thought they played a well enough game to win last night. They just blew it a couple of times, that's for sure.
Joe, I'm calling it the toe game, just between the likely missed touchdown, but also all of the illegal formations we had by about a pinky toe.
Well, it really kind of ticked me off last night. I think you all might figure out that I was on the Ravens side catching points, but it totally ticked me off that Harbaugh and the Ravens kept getting flagged for, what was it, illegal procedure, lined up in the backfield. Jawan Taylor does it, and I'm going to ask Leon coming up in just a little bit. He does it all the time. He barely got flagged for it. The Ravens really got hit by the refs with at least three bad flags with that call.
I'm guessing a lot of Jaguars Dolphins at Mocama coming up?
Oh, yeah, we're doing that. We're going to do our picks. Coach Campbell will be with us. We're all here hanging out South 8th Street. We've got plenty of college football. Do we smell an upset? We'll get into that. But, yeah, mainly Fins, Jags throughout our show today.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. We'll be listening.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, quickly before we get out of here, offensive rookie of the year for you, Taylor?
Who did I end up picking? I went back and forth a lot. I think I ended up going Marvin Harrison, though. Let me make sure that I'm not lying. Oh, no, I went Xavier Worthy, actually.
Okay.
You did.
Yeah. So last night showed good stuff. I have Jaden Daniels as the aforementioned Commanders, and my playoff predictions make the playoffs.
Caleb
Williams for Mia, and defensive rookie of the year, I have Jared Verse on the Rams.
Taylor, you go first.
I have Verse, too, actually.
Okay.
Verse is who, if the Bears didn't draft Rome, that's who I honestly wanted them to take, so I'm very high on Jared Verse.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Verse. But I don't know. There's a guy or two on the Jags that I look at and I say, could Mason Smith make a late push here? I don't know. It's a little bit of a project. Some say it's all right. I'll go Verse. I don't think Leatu Latu's going to win, though.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are high on him. I just think, and he's incredible. I'm just a little concerned about the injury. Yeah, the health side of it.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Again, XL Primetime up in Fernandina at Mokama Beer Company. Head up there and say hello to them. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next. These heels are made for talking. We'll talk to you after the Jaguars hopefully beat the Dolphins on Monday.